Hang on to your seats, everybody. We are in for a real treat. Welcome, Cynthia Marshall. Class of 2009, this is your day. Can I get some noise out there? I am so honored. I have a big mouth. Y'all can tell that already. I am so honored to be here to share this day with you and your families. And to my good friend, President Bingham, and she truly is my girlfriend. I think we were twins separated at birth. And to the remarkable team at this fine institution, thank you for creating such a sweet, sweet spirit. It is truly sweet on this campus. And to the parents, all the family members, just wave at us, just wave. Thank you for laying the foundation for our future. Today, you are getting the return on your investment. To the young women who are sitting before me, we are here to celebrate each and every one of you. As Chaka Khan said in her famous song, you are every woman. Today is a very special day for you, as it marks an important milestone in your journeys of education and self-discovery. Now, I usually have two ground rules that I give when I speak. Now, one, I'm not going to ask you to adhere to it today, but I usually tell people if you have an AT&T cell phone, you do not have to turn it off, and if it rings, you can step away and talk as long as you want to, because that's how I make my money and that's how my kids eat. But I'm not going to tell you that today, because I don't want anyone to step away. But I do have one ground rule, and that is, young ladies and everybody, you have to engage with me. I grew up in a Pentecostal church. Now, don't y'all worry, we're going to get out before midnight. But I like to hear noise, so every now and then you can say, amen. Tell it like it is. Can I get a witness, sister? It's all right. Okay, so the ground rule is that you have to talk to each other. So ladies, everybody, look at your neighbor. And tell them the person we see is the person we will be. Now, I told y'all I grew up in the Pentecostal church, so y'all got to get louder than that. So look at your other neighbor and tell them the person we see is the person we will be. Okay. A legend tells of a prince who suffered from a spinal problem. He could only walk with his back arched and his face looking down. This caused him great physical pain and emotional despair. Finally, he went to a great sculptor and asked him to carve a statue that would portray him without a spinal deformity. Working rapidly, the sculptor soon created a magnificent likeness of the prince, tall and straight. Shall I place it in front of the palace gate for all to see? Asked the sculptor. No, answered the prince. I want it placed in my private garden, where only I can see it. Once the statue was in place, the prince spent part of each day observing it and dreaming of man he might have been if his back were straight. As time passed, people in his kingdom noticed a change in the prince. He was standing a little taller and a little straighter. A physical change was definitely taking place. As the prince visualized himself with a straight back, he began to rise up to the image in his mind. I grew up as the fourth child of 6 in the Easter Hill Public Housing Projects in Richmond, California. When I was 11 years old, a tragic incident occurred in our family, and I witnessed my father shoot a man in the head in self-defense. Actually, probably more in defense of me, since I was standing on his side when it happened, watching the entire situation unfold. You see, I was supposed to be in the back room with my mother and my 5 brothers and sisters. But in my usual nosy fashion, I wanted to see what was going on and what the commotion at the front door was all about. My father did not realize that I was standing at his side until the young man pulled out a silver pistol and pointed it down at me on my father's right side. That's when my father knew that I was not in the back room with my mother, but in the potential pathway of a bullet. Everyone in our family coped differently with the situation. I found refuge in my books and in the classroom. The classroom was a place where I could hide, be free, and feel safe. So when we were supposed to be sequestered in the house for safety purposes, I insisted on going to school. As a 7th grader, I had to be escorted to school each day by a uniformed police officer. Despite me finding refuge in the classroom and feeling safe at school, the family situation was still bad with lots of violence and turmoil. And my parents divorced 4 years later when I was 15 years old. In an ugly rage the summer before my junior year in high school, my father left us. Although he left us with very little, one full-size mattress in a 4-bedroom housing project unit for me and my youngest sister to sleep on, he left me with something very profound, the image of what I would become. The image was this. He said I would be stuck in the projects with no way out. Smart, but to what end? Pregnant by 16 and on drugs by 18, like most of the kids in my neighborhood. To be specific, he told my sister and I that we would be hookers on the street without him. That was the destiny that was predicted for me and my youngest sister. In an instant, as I heard these words, I flashed back not to the rocky childhood, not to the abusive home life, not to the bad neighborhood, but to the foundation of faith that was provided to me by my mother. Anyone have a mother like that who laid a foundation of prayer and faith? She taught us, it's not where you live, it's how you live. She also taught us that we can do anything we want to do if we put our mind to it and trust in the Lord. And that's what I'm supposed to get. Can I get a witness? In response to my father, I spoke the following words to my sister. You see, I spoke this to my sister, not to my father, because I grew up in a day when you couldn't talk back to your parents. In fact, my kids still grew up in a day where you can't talk back to your parents. I told my sister, we will be the first to graduate from college, we will get our mother out of the projects, and I will be the president of something one day. I saw a Cynthia that was very different than the one that my father saw. So look at your neighbor again and tell them, the person you see is the person you will be. I had a mental picture before me, and I was determined to grow into that image. So I spent the next 2 years in high school very focused, still dealing with a lot of issues. I had a gun held to my head 3 times. I went back to my junior year in high school with a big brace in the middle of my nose where my father had broken my nose. But that didn't stop me. I graduated the top student in the school district and was offered a full scholarship to the college of my choice. And that's when I chose the University of California at Berkeley. In college, I continued the same high level of focus that I had in those last 2 years of high school. In fact, this is how focused I was. My boyfriend lived 3 hours away from me. And he called me my first day of college and he said, guess what? I have transferred colleges so I can be near you. He said, I have a surprise. I'm at San Francisco State University. I said, hold up, boyfriend. I have a surprise for you. I said, I will call you the day I graduate. Now, this was my freshman year. I said, honey, I'm trying to do something with my life. I'm going to get my mother out of the projects. I can't be distracted by some smooth-talking cutie who wants to play when I need to stay.